Yo, what's up, everybody? I just got back from the gym, but my name is Tosin Ogunjobi, and I have been building a Bitcoin personal finance app called Compass. Compass is essentially a tool that will allow you to see your finances in Bitcoin spending, right? So if you're someone who makes purchases on a daily day basis, such as myself, and you want to actually start seeing, the distribution of where your money is going towards and how it affects your financial goals, how it affects your Bitcoin stacking goals, seeing your life price in Bitcoin so you can understand like the cost basis for what you're buying things at. This is the app for you, right? So I tend to, kind of think about my life in Bitcoin terms and in a sense where it allows me to like, delay gratification, or I'm looking at like, a car or, anything that I may think is like, eye candy today, but may not be tomorrow. This is an app that allows you to actually see where your spending is going towards, right? But enough of me talking. I'm just actually going to go through one of these surveys that I sent out to potential users to kind of get an understanding of what their how they measure their finances on a day-to-day basis. And we're just going to go through the results together, and I'm going to show you guys like what they have said. So, first question I asked was, how do they currently track their finances? The most overwhelming answer that I was actually surprised by was via spreadsheet. I'm someone who uses Rocket Money, where the bank app allows you to kind of just see just like transactions, but it doesn't necessarily show me like the distribution. Whereas like, am I spending most of my money on bills? Am I spending most of it on food? But Rocket Money and apps like Mint allow me to do that. Looks like two people said mentally. Looks like two people said Apple Notes, and one person said manually. So yeah, that was pretty interesting to see that most people use spreadsheets to track their finances. I even asked them when they said they manually enter in their finances every single time. So that's pretty interesting. Uh, when it comes to how they would describe their regular spending habits, looks like most people are careful and calculated. Three people being balanced, two people being impulsive. Yeah, this is the thing that I really want to help people with is especially if you're an impulsive spender, where because I always bring it back to myself. Like sometimes like I'll see something and I'm just like, oh, I can get it right now, and there's this tool where it's called like Skip the Latte. And if you start seeing like how much you're actually spending on a day-to-day basis and how much it could be actually costing you in Bitcoin investments or just whatever the case may be, like you'll actually start to visualize and see like, is it really worth it? You know, um, Most people buy Bitcoin weekly. Okay, two people monthly, two people daily. This is good to see though, that most people are motivated when they look at their finances. Looks like four are neutral, and then two are very confident in themselves. Most people self custody all of their Bitcoin. Looks like four people don't. I'm guessing that maybe this means that they, buy Bitcoin, and then when it gets to a certain threshold, is then when they move it over to uh, self custody. But that was pretty interesting. I only got 11 responses, but I'm going to keep sending this out to, get more feedback as I try to build up this app. Okay, so this is a question that I was like most interested in, right? How often do you think about your spending in Bitcoin terms? For example, this car is worth zero point 0.5 Bitcoin, but it'll be worth XYZ in the future. And it looks like a lot of people tend to think about it. Okay, not a lot, but like, more than a little less than half. Okay. Okay, so some people said even one person said never, actually. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think if you actually I think this is the reason why they can't think about it is because they don't actually visually see it. And I think if you were visually able to see it, you would start thinking about it, differently, right? Because I don't know, if you have a car, and, a car is a depreciating asset. The price of the car may continue to get more expensive over time, but when it comes in relation to Bitcoin, it then tends to become cheaper. So the more Bitcoin you have today, the more likely it is for you to easily get the car with less money that you would think in the future. Hopefully that analogy makes sense. But I think when you can visually start seeing your life in Bitcoin, I think this will allow people to start thinking about it differently, right? Like this water, for example, I'll start actually seeing like, okay, this much Bitcoin. Um, Even like food, this is this much Bitcoin, and should I be stacking? Should I be, you know, saving? Why that? Yeah. The hardest part of managing Bitcoin. Oh, what is the hardest part of managing your money as a Bitcoin holder? It looks like keeping Bitcoin and fiat separate, tracking net worth accurately, and then also, yeah, this is a big one. Yeah, because a lot of times, like people will either like me included, eat out a lot, and you'll actually start seeing that spending impact in terms of, yeah, like should I delay my gratification towards saving for something or even putting it towards something else versus spending it on this wasteful thing that's cutting into my stack. Stay motivated to stack during bear markets. It's pretty interesting. Setting financial goals, trusting tools of my data. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I think trust. That's the thing with Bitcoin too, that it's open source and it gives you a lot of trust. Okay, so for a Bitcoin personal finance app, what feature would be most useful to you? It looks like all of the above. And these are the options that I gave here. So people said Bitcoin balance tracking specifically, and then seeing spending habits in Bitcoin. Yeah, so I think this is also like something that's going to be really impactful. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll and let you guys see the rest of the results. But these are the rest of the results. And like the most the most interesting thing that I took away from this survey is honestly these two. Is most people want to be able to see their financial goals clearly. And then when it comes to tracking their finances, most people use spreadsheets. That made me, I was already working on the mobile app, but it inspired me to actually start working on a web app as well. I actually talked to someone, I'm not going to say her name, but she said that she actually like, goes on a computer on Excel and actually inputs like all of her transactions. And I think, I don't want to neglect my web users too. So yeah, this really stuck out to me too is having goals. And I actually wrote down what I wanted to have for the MVP here too. For the MVP, I really wanted it to just consist of three main features, whether it be, and those being tracking your Bitcoin balance with, your cold, cold wallet address, seeing your spending in Satoshis or Bitcoin, and then having a reflection card where you can actually like kind of see the distribution of your spending and having the ability to reflect on for this month, this is where I was at. Did it allow me to reach my goals or not? How far away am I from my goals, and how can I get back on track? But the thing that I'm thinking about now is having the ability to be able to see your goals more clearly. A lot of people are trying to, stack to get to just one Bitcoin. Like, how long is it going to take me to get to one Bitcoin based off like my spending habits, or how much do I need to dollar cost average now to get to that Bitcoin? Like, how can I actually start seeing these things more clearly? But then also too, when it comes to, as I mentioned, buying a car or saving for education, whatever the case may be, like I want to be able to help people understand that and how can Bitcoin be used as a tool to help you get there. Even when it comes to like somebody even said here, like selling Bitcoin, like the with Bitcoin, like everyone has a different mantra on it, but it's meant to make your life easier, and you use your Bitcoin for like what you want it to be. We all aren't going to be here forever, and there needs to be hopefully some use for it, and like maybe this can be that tool to help you achieve some of those goals. Yeah, so to be clear, I've already started working on the web app for it. So I've already started working on a landing page, and you guys can see here. This will be the next thing that I have available. As I mentioned, been working on a mobile app as well. So this is also available in test flight. If you're interested, please comment Bitcoin below this video, and I will get you set up on that. But yeah, when it comes to the web app, this is what I have so far. It it's gonna look pretty much the same as the mobile app, but yeah, I think the goals section is gonna be the next thing that I really prioritize in terms of getting better. And thank you to the people who fill out the survey. I think it's gonna be really important for me to take in all the feedback that I can get from Bitcoiners alike. And this is what's going to allow me to make this whole thing a lot better. Um, yeah, I just wanted to give you guys quick updates today. Just continuing to stay consistent in building and being open with what I'm doing. This is something that I'm really really excited about. I'm just going to continue to stay consistent on it, stay focused, and keep grinding on. Uh, yeah, without saying more, I just hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Continue to stack Bitcoin and remember, just keep believing in yourself. All right, peace.